Welcome to Perception versus Reality Sports and Culture, where we cover sports from a different angle and bring you topics most podcasts and radio shows will not cover. I'm your host, Rodney 870, and welcome my co-hosts, Neely, Mr. Sports IQ, Lemuel, aka Lemwood, and Stanley, known on Instagram as Third World 870. Please enjoy this PvR clip and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
So let's listen to Max Kellerman.
Although LeBron's tweeted out statements, as other people have retweeted in the last 24 hours, you know, the Martin Luther King statement, a threat to justice anywhere is I just misphrased it, but I get it. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Yeah. Anyway.
Right. I would have helped you out earlier. I just forgot it myself.
Anyway, I'm a little worked up about this.
Okay, I got you.
It's called selling out. When $1 billion of business you don't want disturbed, so now you're quiet. In this instance, it's called selling out. I understand it's a very high price, and I'm not saying how I would behave given the same circumstances if I had $1 billion in the line. But that's what it's called. It's very easy to take a stand when there's low to no cost, right? Then you can take a stand. When the cost is high, when there's a real price to pay for taking a stand.
So that was Max Kellerman pretty much calling LeBron a sellout. Now here's Stephen A. Smith rebuttal.
He's saying Daryl Morey didn't think about other people, but you could argue he was only thinking about other people, the people of China.
But what I'm saying is the reason why LeBron James was saying that, because more directly, he's alluding to the fact that we got NBA people over there. And
he's alluding to the business interests of the NBA.
Well, not just that, the fact that those players are over there at that particular moment in time, and as a result, they're going to have to deal with it on Chinese soil as opposed to American soil, which becomes a bit more comprehensive and a bit more dicier than one would ever imagine. But I do think that it's important to point this out. At the end of the day, what this comes down to is I do not believe that LeBron James is selling out. And if he is selling out, you're a sellout. I'm a sellout, and a whole bunch of people are. Because let me tell you something right now, and I get so sick and tired of these trolls and people. I got somebody told me about John Oliver. He said something about me. I didn't see it. I don't care. He's entitled to his opinion. Everybody is entitled to their opinion.
We all have haters.
But the thing that absolutely throws me off, we work for ESPN. Oh my God, it's a crime for me to take the interest of ESPN into consideration. I don't see a writer for the New York Post talking about the New York Post. I don't see a writer for the New York Daily News talking about the New York Daily News. I don't see it at the LA Times. I don't see it at the Washington Post. I don't see it at HBO. I don't see it at Fox.
And so you heard Max initially say, you know, LeBron worried about the money. He's pretty much a sellout. And he tried to say it tongue-in-cheek almost like, he was trying to say it like, oh, I'm not really calling LeBron a sellout because I would do the same thing if it was $1 billion online, but he's a sellout. Basically what he's trying to say. Stephen A. Smith came back with what I would say. Like, hey, well, we're all selling out. Like I told you earlier in the podcast, Walt Disney does big business in China. Guess who's owned majority by Walt Disney? I think ESPN is like more than 70% owned by Walt Disney. I just said the name, ESPN. Guess who Max Kellerman worked for? ESPN. Guess who checks feed his family? ESPN. But once again, like I was saying earlier, you're going to call this man a sellout because he hadn't paid attention to what's going on over there, just like none of us has. We probably just like I did. We just researched this shit the last 2 weeks when the NBA started going through this. We saw them protests. We were like, hey, a cop must have killed somebody in Hong Kong. That's the reason they protest. Because that's why we protest over here. We didn't know. Then we started researching and we educated ourselves on it. But to call this man a sellout because he basically won't say anything about this, and he basically said that, hey, this guy shouldn't have tweeted this. He should have thought about other people. He should have been smart about it, which is right. He should have been smart about it. Like I explained earlier, if I have issues with certain things that my company is doing, why should I do something to take the whole company down and affect everybody that's there? Because I don't know why certain people really need that job. Somebody could have a sick parent or a sick wife or a sick kid at home that they need the insurance to pay for it or anything. So you have to, you're being self-righteous in one sense by saying Hong Kong needs their freedom, which I absolutely agree with. Needs to maintain their freedom because it hadn't been taken and needs to be maintained. And then on the other hand, you're doing this for a self-righteous situation, whereas you being selfish to the people that you actually work with, that work with the same company you work for. Instead of saying, I'm just going to leave the company and not do this because I can't deal with them being in business with China. That's what you should have did. But Max Kellerman said he's a sellout because he won't say anything about it and he's thinking about his money. No, LeBron ain't saying anything about it because LeBron don't really understand it. You could tell he's not educated on it. They don't know anything about that. That shit been going on for years. And Stephen A. Smith said it right. You're a sellout. I'm a sellout. Molly's a sellout. That guy over there that's working the camera is a sellout. Everybody's a sellout. That's basically what it is. But what you have is like I said earlier, remember, our black athletes are not allowed to be black. LeBron had the N-word spray painted on his gate. And I heard Jason Whitlock, a black man on TV, actually tell him that you are privileged. You don't know what it feels like to be black anymore. That shouldn't affect you. Somebody painting on your $2 million gate. That's the bullshit that they feeding people. That our athletes can't stand up for, that they can't provide resources, they can't understand where we're coming from. And the reason I say that is because they have the platform to do it. Like Colin Kaepernick taking a knee showed you how powerful these platforms are. Because nobody was talking about really police killings. Police was just going and getting away with the shit. Nobody's really saying anything. We'll do our marching for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then the shit will go away. Colin Kaepernick took that knee. We hadn't stopped talking about this shit since 2016. Because the platform is huge. And they have to use their platform, and they hate that. So, Max Kellerman, I'm going to say that you were wrong for what you said. LeBron is not a sellout. Steph Curry is not a sellout. Steve Kerr is not a sellout. Popovich is not a sellout. They're fighting a battle. Because they don't fight every battle in the world doesn't mean that they're not about social justice. Doesn't mean that they're fake. And like Stephen A. Smith said, all of us some way, somehow work with a company that does business with China. Because China has 1 billion people. China has a lot of money in their economy. And all of us want a piece of that pie. China been doing what they've been doing in Hong Kong for 20 years now. Ever since 2000s. There have been tensions over there. And ain't nobody said anything. People signed new business deals. People still been making money over there. So let's stop the fake shit. And let's listen to what Rob Parker had to say.
Pop and sneakers because of democracy. What are you talking about? I want to see what tweet was uneducated. There was nothing in that tweet that wasn't what we all live by. The issues that we deal with in this country are more complicated than the idea of democracy, of people having a right to live free and do as they want. That's what we do. This whole notion that Daryl Morey did something wrong. China doesn't want it. They're a communist nation. I get it. They don't want that stuff out there. They want to regain control of Hong Kong. And the people of Hong Kong don't want it. What part don't you get? And then to talk about, well, there's ramifications in hurting people financially. Hurting you. That's what this is about. Right? Because you don't want what you have going to stop. I get it. You're a very rich man. But that's where they make your sneakers. That's what this is about. And if you want to be taken seriously as this global icon, it can't be just when it's right for you. And the same people LeBron talking about there's a time and a place, and he should have waited till we came back from China or said it another time. Those are the same people who told the NFL players Don't do it during my NFL game. Go do it down the block or 20 miles from here in a park.
So you heard Rob Parker. And it's just one piece of that I want to address. He made a false equivalency to the NFL kneeling and the people in the stands and the fans saying, hey, don't kneel during the game and we don't want to see you kneeling and we're here to watch a game, to LeBron saying, hey, maybe you should have thought more about this tweet before you tweeted it out. Maybe you should have waited because we were headed over there with our families and we didn't know what could happen. It's a difference, because when somebody telling you don't kneel during our game, this is the bullshit I talk about. Rob Parker, who is a known LeBron hater, is a known NBA hater. They're telling you don't kneel during our game because they like, hey, we don't want to see that. You're making us uncomfortable. You're bringing something to the game that you're bringing politics to a game that we just love and we don't want to think about politics during this time. No one was in danger of getting hurt because he was taking a damn knee. No one. So that's a bullshit that has false equivalency to what he was saying, to what he was trying to compare. What LeBron James said was, hey, you tweeted this stuff a couple of days before we had to go over there. A day. We was in the air when you tweeted this shit. And we get over there and land, and then we finding out like, hey, the government is pissed off at the NBA. You guys go to your hotel, stay there. We're not going to do this event. We're not going to do that event. We're going to tear this down. We're going to tear that down. And as far as swiftly as the Chinese government was working, you don't know what would have happened. What if they told the NBA, hey, we're going to hold you guys over here until we figure out what's going on? What if they told those guys that? And the government in China has the power to do that shit. So don't act like it can't be done. They got the power to hold that plane and say that plane ain't going anywhere until we say it's going. So to say that LeBron James is like the people, the fans that were saying, I don't want Kaepernick to kneel because I love my football game and I don't want to see it. These guys didn't know what type of issue they were having, if they were in any danger, because the Chinese government worked swiftly in their hardcore, versus somebody saying we don't want to see you kneel. Like, that's bullshit, man. Rob, that you are full of shit for even comparing the two. I know you don't like LeBron. I know you hate him. I know you hate the fact that they compare him to Ali and they compare him to Jordan at times. But to make those two comparisons, man, it's just so disappointing to see. Like, I'm not saying you got to agree, because I haven't agreed with everything LeBron said. I said he stuck his foot in his mouth when he first spoke. I said that. But at the same time, I'm not finna dog this brother out after everything he's done. When he didn't do anything wrong, he just like, hey, I don't know what's going on. So Rob Parker, that was a bullshit analysis, man. So let's listen to Travis Clay.
Confrontation with China, a communist dictatorship, and said, I support the democratic protesters in Hong Kong who are merely seeking to have the same rights that American citizens take for granted. And LeBron James said that he was uneducated, Daryl Morey was, and also said there are downsides to the First Amendment. Yes, for instance, LeBron, one of the downsides to the First Amendment is the First Amendment does not protect you from being exposed as to be an idiot, as you were yesterday after deciding to say what you said, despite having a week to come up with something remotely intelligent. You were unable and incapable of doing so. This, to me, should end any argument about LeBron James being smart outside of basketball. He is a good basketball player. He is a smart basketball player. That does not translate into other arenas of life. If you doubted me, just go listen to how dumb LeBron sounded just in that limited 1-minute clip attempting to address the China political crisis after having a week to think about what he was going to say. Danny G, when you...
So, that's Travis. For you guys don't know, that's Travis Clay. He's also a right-winger from Fox Sports. He's always hated on LeBron. He's always hated on NBA players. He doesn't like the fact they stand up. He's always hated on Kaepernick. And as you can see, once again, he took out the time to attack LeBron's intelligence. So he was salivating at the mouth, like foaming, like, oh, I told you guys, like, he's not a smart guy. He's not a smart guy any other aspect. His basketball smarts doesn't translate to any other aspect in his life. His basketball intelligence does not translate. And he sit here and called a black man dumb on air because he addressed the situation that he told you, like, hell, I don't know enough about it. But he had a week to figure this out. You think LeBron was sitting there for a week thinking about that? He probably sitting there for a week like, hey, I wonder what the hell is going on and what are we going to do? He not sitting there saying like, oh, I'm going to address this and I'm going to address that. But that's the bullshit they feed you. See, he wants you to sit here and say like, okay, I've always wanted to attack LeBron intelligence, and here I'm going to do it in this arena because it allows me to do it without being called a racist. See, one thing about people like Travis, they sit back all day and talk about how dumb athletes are. They probably talk about how dumb Lamar Jackson is and guys like that who play ball. Look, you could tell in one clip that he's not smart at all in any other aspect of his life. How the fuck can you tell in one clip? So you mean if you come and talk to me and I had a couple of drinks in me and I'm being silly, that you're going to tell me that I'm a dumb fuck? That's basically what he was saying. He always wanted to say that shit. But he didn't want to be called a racist. So now that LeBron kind of stepped in it the other day with that statement, he got his opportunity. And now they taking full advantage of it. And they going to convince us that LeBron is bullshit. And LeBron and other NBA players and people that stand up for social justice for black people, they bullshit. Because they just stand up for Asians and Hong Kong and all these other places that don't stand up for us. If we say something wrong, guess what some people going to tell us? Y'all should work harder. Y'all should stop doing drugs. Y'all should stop being lazy. Y'all should get off welfare. That's what they going to tell us. So he wants you to believe that now that our athletes are dumb because of one statement and they can't do anything in any other aspect of their life. Jason Whitlock.
And culture of sports. Ali answered to black religious leaders Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. LeBron answers to Phil Knight and Adam Silver. And they answer to a global economic force in Asia that is run by a communist regime. You can't understand the game-changing impact of that fundamental difference. You're as naive as a 10-year-old child. Ali, Arthur Ashe, Jim Brown, Jackie Robinson, John Carlos, Tommy Smith, and the black athletes of yesteryear experienced firsthand the indignity and humiliation of second-class citizenry. They don't have to pretend that spray paint on a garage door they never saw equated to the pain of Emmett Till's mother. Only a pampered elite removed from the ravages of discrimination would make that analogy. LeBron is a multi-million-dollar brand, not a slam-dunking Nelson Mandela knockoff. He was born with athletic gifts that in America cripple intellectual evolution until the athletic gifts diminish. Let me clarify. The smart play for an American kid as physically blessed as LeBron is to max out athletically before maxing out intellectually.
So once again, and for those of you who don't know, Jason Whitlock is a black man and a fat black man. And he's one of those guys that always hate on black athletes. He once said that Serena Williams wasn't beautiful as people were saying, that she was built up like a man. And she wasn't beautiful to the eye. He said that about Serena. He said he would do skits about Colin Kaepernick, and anybody that support Colin Kaepernick, he would call them the Kaepernicks, making jokes about it. He's the guy that spent every day trying to figure out how to tear down a black man that's actually doing something for the community. His idea is that black athletes should stop complaining they're multimillionaires, like you just heard him say about LeBron. He said that LeBron, because of his physical gifts, was taken away from the oppression that has been felt by black people since we've been in America because of his physical gifts. What he didn't tell you is LeBron James was a guy that mother was 15 or 16 when she gave birth to him. That he lived with like 10 different people from the age of 1 to the age of like 12 or 13. That nobody knew who he was going to be, what he was going to be, until probably his 10th grade year in high school. Because his 9th grade year, LeBron was like 6'1" and a point guard. And his 10th grade year, LeBron grew about 6 or 7 inches, and then he became LeBron. So people knew then. And like you said, they knew he was a good athlete, but they didn't know he was going to be LeBron until probably his 10th grade year. But a guy like Jason Whitlock, I can tell you, oh, they knew since he was 3 years old that he was going to be LeBron James. Bullshit. They treated him like a god ever since he was 3. Bullshit. That guy grew up in Akron, Ohio, lived in the projects. When he was in the 2nd or 3rd grade, missed damn near half of the school year, and his mama had to go get all his work from the teacher just so he could complete the work so he could pass and go to the next level. So don't let somebody like Fatlock tell you that this kid didn't earn everything that he has. Then he called LeBron a fake Gundy and a fake Ali and all this bullshit. Well, guess what, guys? They talk shit about Ali when he was standing up for injustices. You had your Jason Whitlocks back then that told Ali, well, why are you always talking up for injustice? Why don't you just let black people do this and do that? The same people. Then when as Ali was older and started to have Parkinson's and shaking and shit, then all of a sudden, hey, Ali is a god now. You can't talk anymore. The same thing happened to Colin Kaepernick. Same thing happened to LeBron. Like I said, in closing, athletes should focus on their own communities. I'm not saying they can't look out and help other people. They can, if you have the capacity to do that. But your community over here is suffering. We're being oppressed every day still. Are opportunities better than what they were in 1960? Yeah. But that's just like telling somebody, hey, I used to rape you and beat you, and now I only rape you. I only beat you, I don't rape you anymore. So we still have issues over here that need to be addressed. And not from your white brother. So don't look at your white brother and say, you're doing this, he's not doing it. It's a systemic thing. And the system is America. Not that white guy sitting by you at work. Not that Asian guy sitting by you at work. It's a system. And somebody has to be man enough or woman enough to go and change the system. But in the meantime, we need support from our own people. So we need to support each other. We need our intelligent people like Eric Dyson and those guys to stand up and talk about the economy and talk about how it's affecting us. Claude Anderson, talk about how it's affecting us. Tone Talks, Antonio Moore, talk about how it's affecting us. We need those subject matter experts. We also need us as a community, the working class, to donate, to raise our kids the right way, to teach them values. We need the athletes because guess what? They have the resources. They have millions and millions of dollars. Entertainers have millions and millions of dollars. Look what Tyler Perry just did. Tyler Perry just went and created his own studio. 12 sound stages. Going to be able to hire and employ thousands of people. You're talking about stage experts, makeup artists, people to unload trucks, load trucks, actors, directors, writers, producers. And those jobs will create more millionaires. And maybe all of them won't be like Tyler, but maybe out of 10, he could get 2 that's like him and continue to build. All athletes won't be like LeBron James, but if we get LeBron, Steph Curry, and these guys that want to give back, that want to do something for the community, we need those resources. was talking to a guy at work the other day, and he was talking about protesters, and he was saying how, oh, protesting is stupid. It doesn't mean anything, and those people out there protesting the Amber Geiger trial probably don't vote and all this shit. And I explained to him, I said, hey, who you think more likely to go stand in line to vote? The people that's out there standing in line screaming and hollering for this guy to get justice from this white female cop that's taking out their time, or that guy sitting at home eating ice cream just talking shit? It's probably the person sitting out there protesting and fighting for the rights of somebody they don't even know. So we need everybody. We need the marchers. We need the steppers. We need the people that's out there protesting. We need the intellectuals, the guys Claude Anderson, Antonio Moore, Eric Dyson, Cornel West, Andrew Gilliam, the guys that are subject matter experts. We need the people like us, the normal day-to-day people, to build our communities, to donate. Like, I'm not a person where I'm not out there like teaching the kids and doing all this and that, but whenever somebody called me and say, hey man, I need a couple of bucks to feed a few kids, I need a couple of bucks for a backpack drive, I need a couple of bucks as we trying to take the kids to do this and do that, I'm always willing to lend a little money that I have. We need our people that's willing to get out there and use their voices. Charles Woods, guy like, post something positive every day. Post something educational every day. I learn from a lot of his posts. I read his posts and they educate me. I send it to my daughter so she can read it and become educated. We need people like that. Like I told somebody the other day, use social media as a tool. Don't run from it because it's here. It's where we get our breaking news. It's where they do most of the marketing. Can't run from it anymore. I hear people say all the time, well, I ain't on Facebook and I ain't on Twitter. I laugh at those people. Well, you ain't in tune with the world then. It feels good to go on Twitter and be able to see what the people are thinking. And not just people that you're around that think like you, but people that don't think like you. People that think the total opposite of what you think. You become a more well-rounded person. So use it as a tool. Our athletes should focus on us right now, because we need their help. Our intellectuals should focus on us right now because we need their help. We got a racial wealth gap to close. We got some laws that need to be changed. We got some executive orders that need to be changed. We got a lot of things. We pray for Hong Kong. We hope they get their freedom. But we don't expect their superstars to tweet about our oppressions. And if they do, we appreciate it. And they should be burning our superstars' jerseys because they don't tweet about their situation. Because they hundreds, thousands of miles away. And yeah, they deserve their freedom because that's what we believe in. But everybody want to be human rights activists, right? So let's end like this. Today, not in 1776, but today in America. Not in America, in the world, in Africa. There are 9.2 million Africans that are enslaved today. There have been videos of slave markets and auctions going on in Libya, where Africans have migrated to Libya for freedom and for like, hey, I want to get the hell out where I'm at because they killing people, they shooting people up, and then you run and migrate to Libya, and then they got you in slavery. Nigerian women migrate to Libya have become sex slaves in Italy. Think about that shit. Think about that. They crucifying our black athletes because they won't speak up. They didn't say they disagree with what's going on in Hong Kong and China. I want to keep reiterating that because I do believe that if Hong Kong has been a free country since 1860, since it was a British territory, they deserve to keep that, no doubt. But you have 9.2 million Africans enslaved. And you have Libya going on video broadcasting live slave markets and trades like they used to in the 1600s here in America. And I don't hear anybody talking about it. I don't hear Clay Travis talking about it. I don't hear Jason Whitlock talking about it. I don't hear Marcellus Wiley talking about it. I don't hear Doug Gottlieb talking about it. I don't hear Max Kellerman talking about it. I don't hear Ted Cruz talking about it. I don't hear AOC talking about it. It's just happening. Nigerian women migrate to Libya are being put in sex slavery. In Italy. You hear none of these politicians talking about it. All of a sudden we want to be so self-righteous and social justice warriors about Hong Kong and China. But we think about the difference. The people in Africa and the people in Hong Kong and China. It's funny, ain't it? You had people coming to the border begging to get in America, brown people, because they were in danger in their own country. And the same people that's telling you, oh, LeBron James is not about freedom. He won't speak up for this and that. One, their company is doing business with the same country that they're talking shit to LeBron about. Two, those are the people that tell you, hey, those brown people coming to our border because they got gangs and drug dealers and cartels and shit that's trying to kill them and kill their kids in their own country. They coming looking for a better life. Hey, turn them around. They can't come here. Go back and get and be killed and murdered and raped in your own country. The people in Libya, the Africans in Libya that's being on slave markets, and we know what's going on. And we just let it happen. Let it happen. So they can't preach to me and convince me that somebody that look like me is doing something wrong because he's focused on his community and not on everybody else's community. If he want to focus on other people's community, I support him 100%. But if he don't, as long as he handling our community, because sometimes you got to handle yourself. Because Asians and Chinese people and people from Hong Kong, that's what they do. They take care of themselves. We could wish something for them. I agree. Let's just hope that everything go good. But we can't be here we can't crucify our people because they don't understand what's going on over there. Think about this and close. Last thing I'll say about this topic. The G20 nations collectively imported $350 billion worth of products that were touched or handled or produced by modern day slave labor. Today. It's not in 16, 17, I'm talking about today. Think about that. But they want you to believe that they care so much about human rights. It ain't about human rights. It's about who it involves. It involves the NBA. The NBA stand up for social justice for minorities. Black athletes in the NBA stand up for minorities, and certain people in our society don't like it. So they're going to try to convince you otherwise. But don't be fooled by that. It's bullshit.